Hello everyone, welcome to Catherine's ESL Classroom. In today's lesson, we are going to review some simple verb tenses, how to use written verb tenses consistently, and do they make sense? So anyone that knows Miss Catherine knows that there's some bonuses, which means there's some vocabulary words. So write down any words that you don't know, and we will review them at the end. Okay, let's get started. So let's review the verb tenses. You have the English verb tenses of the present, past, and the future. In the simple tense, I would say in the present, I eat. In the simple past tense, I would say I ate. Simple future tense, I would say I will eat. In the progressive present tense, I am eating. Progressive past tense, I was eating. In the progressive future tense, I will be eating. In the perfect present tense, I have eaten. In the perfect past tense, I had eaten. Perfect future tense, I will have eaten. Perfect progressive, in the present tense, I have been eating. Perfect progressive past tense, I had been eating. Perfect progressive future tense, I will have been eating. Did you notice over here that some of the things that the future tense has? Will eat, will be eating, will have eaten, will have been eating. So now you know in the future tense, you always use the word will in front of the verb. Now here, I ate. This is an irregular verb, okay? So you wouldn't say eated, you would say ate, okay? So let's look at the form of the past simple. In the regular verbs, you would see we add ed in all persons. For example, talk changes to talked. Play changes to played. In the irregular verbs, we say we have to study them as they have special forms in the past. Okay, so eat turns into ate, speak turns into spoke, have turns into had. Okay, so you have to study these. Now here, do you verbs make sense? Meaning, do your verbs make sense? There's some shift tense here. Anyone that's been in my classes, I always ask you, do you find any errors here? Yes. Notice you, it should be your. If anyone got that, congratulations for paying attention. It's very important. So what is shift tense and why is it important to correct it? Okay, vocabulary word here again, shift. Shift means change. Tense means time. So you have your past, present, or future tense. So here's a good formula. The shift tense equals changing the verb tenses without a good reason. Shift tense confuses the audience. The audience is your reader or your listener. And it doesn't make any sense if you have shift tense, if it doesn't make sense, right? So what is the goal in correcting shift tense? The goal is for our writing or speech to make sense so everyone can understand you, right? Right. So let's learn by example. Let's find and correct the verb that doesn't match the verb in blue. I walk quickly to the bus stop and boarded the city bus just in time. Okay, we're going to correct it. But first, I want you to notice the verbs here. Okay, we have walk and we have boarded. So does that make sense? Okay, let's review. I walk quickly to the bus stop and board the city bus just in time. Okay, why is this correct? Okay, walk is in the present tense. Boarded is in the past tense. The present tense of boarded is board. Why is this incorrect? It confuses the reader. I walk quickly to the bus stop and boarded the city bus just in time. You notice it's incorrect? How can you walk now in the present to the bus stop and then board it? Did it happen in the past? The city bus just in time? I don't think that makes sense. You can also say, I walked quickly to the bus stop and boarded the city bus just in time. You notice the verbs walk and board, and they have ed at the end. Good catch if you did. Okay, so we're going to review this a little bit further. So rules for consistency. Consistency means don't change. Remember vocabulary words. We want to remember some new words for today, okay? So number one, we want to avoid unnecessary shifts in the voice of the verbs. The voice of the verb is your tense of your verb. Am I speaking in the past tense, the future tense, or the present tense? Here's an example. Since he knew that ability to speak well before a group is important, a course in public speaking was taken by him. If you notice, the verb knew and was taken. This is an incorrect, a wrong example of verb shift. Okay, we want to correct it. Since he knew that ability to speak well before a group is important, he took a course in public speaking. So we changed was taken to took. Okay, that's the past tense. Knew, because we're speaking this in the time of the past. Okay. An active sentence. In an active sentence, the subject performs the action. Okay. For example, she took my sister's old job. The subject, she, performed the action in the sentence. She did the taking. Okay. She took my sister's old job. Okay. It's an action, so it's active. There are two types of action verbs. There's active and there's passive. So we'll go a little bit deeper so you can understand. So we have active versus passive verbs. An active verb, you have the subject, you have the action, and you have the object. Sally drove her car off of the road. Sally is the subject. Drove is the action. Did anyone guess what tense this is? Well, this is the past tense, okay? Her car is the object. Here's another example. The dog bit Timmy on the arm. The dog is the subject, bit is the action, and Timmy is the object. Both of these are examples of active voices. Now you have the passive voice. The passive voice starts with the object, not the subject, then the action, then the subject. The car was driven off the road by Sally. Okay? We can also say the car was driven off the road. In the passive voice, sometimes we don't care who the subject is. Sometimes it could just be the object and the action. So both of them are acceptable, meaning both of them are correct. Next sentence. Timmy was bitten on the arm by the dog. You notice here, Timmy is the object, was bitten is the action, on the arm. Now we can say Timmy was bitten on the arm by the dog, or we can say Timmy was bitten on the arm. Because in the passive voice, most of the time, we don't care who it is. We just care about the object and the action. Okay, so you notice the difference here? The active voice starts with the subject, then the action, then the object. The passive voice is the object and then the action and then the subject. But we don't always have to do that. Okay, we can just do the object and the action in the passive voice, and that's still correct. More rules for consistency, meaning don't change your verb tenses in these examples. In a passive sentence, the subject is acted upon. For example, my sister's old job was taken by her. The subject, job, receives the action in the sentence, it was taken. Okay, so we want to review this a little bit further. My sister's old job was taken by her. Or we can say, my sister's old job was taken. How to keep the verb tenses in the past. Here's some more examples of active and passive. Jill and I, here's the subject, Jill and I started, here's the verb. Does anyone know if this is the past tense, the present tense, or the future tense? Anyone guessed it? The clue is this ends with ed. Started. Is this a regular verb or an irregular? If it has the ed, it's regular. That means it follows the regular pattern. So Jill and I started the report, and it was finished by another team. See the passive? It was. Here's another example. Jill and I started the report, and another team finished it. Here's an example of two active verbs, okay, because we have two sets of subjects. Jill and I are the subjects, started, the past tense of the verb, and here's the object, the report. And then another subject is another team. So team, finished, okay? They're doing active, okay? How to avoid changes in verb tenses that don't make sense, okay? Avoid the unnecessary shifts, meaning changes, in the tense of verbs. So here's a wrong example. She made some flippant remark and rushes off down the hall. Okay, here's the verb made, and here's another verb, rushes. Okay, do they make sense? So what tense is this? This is the present tense. Rushes is in the present tense too? Are you sure? I like to trick you, so I want you to start thinking. She made some flippant remark and rushes off down the hall. I think you mean past tense, right? Correct. So she made some flippant remark and rushed off down the hall. Okay? rushed, ending in ed. Okay, what would the present tense be for made? Makes. She makes. So if I wanted to change this and keep rushes, we can say she makes some flippant remark and rushes off down the hall. So I'm sure that a lot of people are trying to think, well, if you have a sentence, you have to ask yourself, is this in the present tense or is it in the past tense? So you have to make sure both verbs agree. Okay, so what's the bonus vocabulary word? Here's a clue right here. I knew she was kidding. Flippant, for anyone who got it. So flippant is a nice way of saying that they were kidding. Okay, it also means that they're not serious, or there may even be disrespectful. Okay, now you try. Let's fix the sentences here. Don't worry, I'll help you. I told her that she can come over anytime and I will be happy to help her. Okay, so we underlining the verbs told, can, and will. Okay, so this is the past tense, this is the present tense, and this is the future tense. Okay, I told her that she could come over anytime and I would be happy to help her. So here we're keeping all the past tense, okay? Because these tenses over here, told, can, and will, they are not consistent. This is what a good example of verb tense shift, okay? Because we have past tense, we have present tense, and we have future tense. They do not agree, okay? Now let's try another one. When we arrived, we are upset to learn we have missed the party, okay? Remember, always underline your verbs to see if they agree. Arrived, are, have missed. Do they agree? We have past tense, we have present tense, and we have more past tense. Now this is a tricky one, have missed, okay? So this would be a present, and then you have a past, kind of mixed together. But we'll learn that on another lesson what this is, okay? I don't want to confuse you any further, but they don't agree, okay? We can only say missed if we want to keep arrived, okay? So we don't want to have. I know a lot of people like to have in front of it because it sounds a little bit prettier, but then you have to do with all of the verbs, okay? Then you would have to say, when we have arrived, we have upset, or we are upset, or we have been upset. So that was what it would be. It would be when we have arrived, we have been upset to learn we have missed the party. Okay? That's if everyone wants to use have and in the past tense. Okay? So if we're going to keep it easy in the past tense with regular past ending in ed, we would say, when we arrived, we were upset to learn that we had missed the party. Did you notice here? When we arrived, we were upset to learn that we had missed the party. Or you can say, when we arrived, we were upset to learn that we missed the party, okay? So now they all agree. Now let's jump to the next one, okay? We're going to fix more sentences. I told her that she can come over any time, and I will be happy to help her, okay? Where are the verbs? told, where's the subject? I is a pronoun. Told her. Okay, this is the object. That she can, okay? So we have told in the past tense. Can, I don't think can is in the past tense. I think it's in the present tense. Did anyone guess it? It's correct. Can is in the present tense. Come over anytime and I will be happy to help her. Will is in the future tense. So these are not agreeing, okay? They're all over the place. They're not consistent. This is another great example of verb shift. The correct answer is I told her that she could come over anytime and I would be happy to help her, okay? These are irregular verbs in the past tense. Remember, told, you can't say telled. Remember, you can't say I told her, it's I told her that she could come over anytime and I would be happy to help her, okay? Here's another one. When we arrived, we are upset to learn we have missed the party. Now you're wondering why we're going through this again. Well, I want to make sure you have it, okay? When we arrived, we are upset to learn we have missed the party. Do they agree? Let's check. When we arrived, we were upset to learn that we had missed the party. Does anyone remember what else it could be? We missed the party, okay? When we arrived, we were upset to learn that we missed the party. That's also correct as well. All right, so more quiz time. Let's see if anyone was paying attention. Here's an example. Anna challenged Tommy to the match, but he scores more points in the end. Does that make sense? Okay. I underlined the verb challenged, and I underlined the other verb scores. Okay. Here are two ways that you can make this sentence correct. So did anyone guess what challenged is? Now tell me, is that an active verb or a passive verb? Is it a subject or is there an object at first? Okay, anyone guessed it? Anna is the subject, challenged Tommy. Okay, so this is an active verb in the past tense. Can anyone guess why it's in the past tense? Is it regular or irregular verb? If anyone guessed regular in the past tense, it's correct because there's ed. Okay, so Anna challenged Tommy to the match, but he scored more points in the end. So this sentence has to stay in one tense. Here's an example of the past tense that we're keeping. Another example is keeping it in the present tense. Anna challenges Tommy to the match, but he scores more points in the end. Okay, you see how they match? They're being consistent, okay? They stay the same. The reason why they stay the same is because it happened in the same time, okay? This is one sentence, okay? Great job, everyone got it. Here's some more. Melissa cooks my favorite meal, turkey with stuffing. And then I washed the pots and pans. Okay? Now remember, when you're writing a sentence, you should always write it down first, so get your thoughts down, and then go to the verbs and underline them. And ask yourself, do they agree? or are they in the same voice? The same voice is, are they happening at the time that they are happening? Okay? And when you're saying in one sentence, when it's in the simple verbs, okay, you have cooks and you have washed. Okay, these are simple verbs. The simple verb cooks is in the present tense. The simple verb washed is in the past tense. Okay, they're just simple verbs in one sentence. So how do we make these agree? Well, we have to choose. Are we speaking in our voice in the present tense, or are we speaking in our voice in the past tense? Okay, here's an example that we're speaking in our voice in the present tense. Melissa cooks my favorite meal, turkey with stuffing. And then I wash the pots and pans. You notice I changed cooks to agree with wash. I changed washed to wash to agree with cooks. Here's another example that's correct. Melissa cooked my favorite meal, turkey with stuffing. And then I washed the pots and pans. So I kept washed because my voice is in the past tense. So I changed cooks with cooked. Okay? Great job. So we're going to go through a little bit further, okay? All right, at the end of the evening, Isaiah locked the door and cleans the floors and counters, okay? Isaiah locked. Anyone guess what this is? Is this past tense, future tense, or present tense? You guessed it, it's past tense. Now, is this a regular verb or an irregular verb? The clue is ed at the end, so that's a regular verb, okay? Cleans is in the present tense. So ways to make these agree is we have to choose if they're going to be in the past tense or in the future tense or in the present tense, okay? Here are some examples. At the end of the evening, Isaiah locked the door and cleaned the floors, okay? So these are both in the past tense and they're both regular verbs. And why? You got it, because there's ed at the end. That's the rule of a regular verb in the past tense. Now here's one that I hope everyone's paying attention. At the end of the evening, Isaiah will lock the door and will clean the floors and counters. What tense is this? You know the clue, will is in front of the verb lock. Will lock, future tense for everyone who got it. So we're going to agree that this is going to happen in the future tense, okay? Now, you're probably asking, why are these both correct? Well, if I'm speaking, if my voice is in the past tense and I'm saying it happened already, so I would say to somebody, at the end of the evening, Isaiah locked the door and cleaned the floors and counters, okay? It still can be in the past tense as long as they agree. And the same thing here, at the evening, at the end of the evening, the future tense, okay, because it didn't happen yet, so it's gonna happen in the future, okay? So these are both correct. Okay, let's look at a summary of what we learned today. Okay, a summary is just what we quickly learned today, and it's just to recap what we learned. So we learned simple verb tenses, regular and irregular, just a quick review. And we did a quick review on active versus passive verbs, okay? Remember the active had the subject, the verb, and the object, and the passive. So what is it if it's not active? Remember subject, verb, and object. So then it would be the opposite. It would be object, verb, and subject, okay? But it can also just be object and verb. And then we had rules in keeping the verb tenses consistent, meaning they have to agree. What is your voice? Is your voice in the past tense, the future tense, or in the present tense? Okay, here are some bonus. The bonus is boarded. Anyone guess boarded? Boarded the train means get on the train, okay? So that's a vocabulary word. Ability means able to, or you can do. You can do it. Consistent, we went through this word a few times. Stay the same, don't change, okay? Sometimes people understand consistent as the rule. Flippant, remember, is a nice way of kidding. It can also mean not showing a serious or respectful behavior, or a nice way of saying someone is kidding or joking. Okay, well, congratulations, everyone. Great job. I hope you join me next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.